Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Take a look around and look at the Pnei Shabbat, the faces, literally the faces of all the people who have gathered here for this service to witness Isaac becoming Bar Mitzvah. Even with the masks, the light is shining through everybody's eyes, from your souls, through your eyes, and making this sanctuary even brighter on this beautiful sunny day. Kind of a surprise, right? Isaac, we were expecting it to be beautiful inside, but it's also matched by the outside. So I am glad we are all here together. Do not take that for granted anymore. That's sort of my new mantra, you know? Whenever we have a gathering like this, I'm just filled with appreciation. And so there's people here you know really well, and people here you're going to get to know because we have some time to spend here in prayer and song and learning, courtesy of Isaac, who will become Bar Mitzvah in front of your very eyes. And so for those of you who've known him forever, it's it's amazing, right, to know that he's reached this moment in his journey. And for those of you who have not met Isaac, that's probably just a few of you, you will get to know him. He's an outstanding young person who is a blessing to get to know. And so our very first prayer on the bottom of page 2, and I encourage you, if you don't know the words, these melodies courtesy of Andrew and Leslie are eminently hummable, and right, like just whatever way you can participate, we want you to participate. And so the very first prayer on the bottom of page 2 is a prayer of gratitude. There is a lot of mess in all of our lives and in the world, that is for sure. And sometimes it's easy to dwell on that. And we have to be mindful of the mess so we can try to clean it up as best we can. But sometimes we forget about the blessings. And so this prayer says, focus on right this moment, this day that we set aside for holiness, for renewal, for blessing. Focus on what you're grateful for, even if it's just because you woke up this morning and you got here. Amen. Right? A blessing. It's the Amen Choir, and you're part of it. So let's sing together this prayer of thanksgiving, gratitude. Isaac is one of the prayer leaders and our chanter and teacher of Torah at this service today. We want you to wear the talit with the fringes that remind us of all the sacred deeds and mitzvahs and commandments that have always been a part of your life, but will also going into the future after this Bar Mitzvah. So it's an honor to ask your mom and dad to come up and present you with the talit that you will wear as you lead us in prayer and teach us Torah.
So your great-grandmother, my grandmother, Mama, was an artist and a weaver, and she made this, and we cherish it, and Levi wore the same one, so we're so glad we got to.
Wow. With love in every stitch, right? For sure. Stay right here with Isaac, because there's a blessing, since it's a mitzvah, right, to wear the fringes up here, ask you to say the blessing, the mitzvah blessing, for wearing this amazing, wonderful talit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahi atef bat tzitzi.
Amen. Give your parents a, there they are. I could just picture her creating this, knowing that it would be worn with pride, with righteousness, and that's what's happening. So with talit on, we turn our attention now to these moments. We just witnessed one of them, and this time should be filled with them. These moments that are just overflowing with holiness. And so the prayer just says, Ma tovu, how good it is. These moments that fill us up with meaning and purpose, that propel us forward. We want to welcome everybody, and not only the people that are here, but the camera and Ezra in the booth signifies that we are streaming. We were streaming even before the pandemic, but we kind of upped our game since then. So it's really important to us that anyone that wants to be part of this service is, excuse me, part of this service can do that from wherever they are. Streaming in. So we want to welcome all those, including two of your grandmas, right? Mima and Grandma Beth, who are watching, I know, with pride from their homes. And so on page 3, these two prayers or songs that have the same word, tov, tovu, that just mean goodness. So we want to exemplify that in these kind of public moments. And then remember also to exhibit them when nobody's watching. Right? Can the goodness that we feel here in front of everybody translate to every aspect, every moment of our lives?
Please chant together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has created me in your image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me free.
Baruch
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hokeach Ivrim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Malbish Arumim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who provides clothes for the needy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Noten leYa'ef koach. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who gives strength to the weak. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher hechin et tzadei gaver. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who guides the steps of human beings. On page 5, we have a series of verses from the book of Tehillim, the Psalms. Psalms which sort of cover the array of human experience and emotion from the very saddest times. There are Psalms, and also for the most joyful of times, and also for celebrating nature and many kind of aspects of the human experience. And so every Shabbat service has verses of Psalms built in. We've created this moment over the years at CRC where we use these Psalms with some upbeat melodies for what we call ecstatic worship, to pray not just with your words, but with your whole selves. So this can be for some a moment to just sit and clap, for others to stand up and clap, and for others maybe even a time of some dancing to really kind of express that sense of joy we hope that is cultivated through Shabbat. So the verses are on page 5. Please, according to your own comfort level and distancing requirements, but if you are so inclined, these next few moments are just for pure, unadulterated joy. So in the words of the ancient Hebrew prophets, we say, hit it! Hallelujah. And we found a drummer in the process. Look at that. How'd that happen? I asked Isaac if that was fun, and he said, yeah, but I would rather had a skateboard or a bicycle. But you would have said that if you had the chance, right? Yeah. Regardless, I hope everybody kind of felt that energy, and because you helped create that energy. And so with all of that, we now kind of transition towards the rest of the service, having gotten ourselves into the mood that we need to be in. We're on page 6 with Isaac leading us in the Reader's Kaddish.
Yud Gadol v'Yud Kadash Shemei Rabbah V'Almandi Racharute V'Amlich Malchute B'Hayecha U'V'Yomecha U'Chayedecha Beit Yisrael Ba'agala U'Zman Kari V'Meru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Omei Omaya Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromah, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalal, shemei d'kudashah b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram be'alma, v'meru, amen. When bad things happen, we can usually look up and see the moon, big and bright, shining over us. That always made me feel better, like there's something up there beaming down on us in the dark. Please rise as we call each other to prayer with the Baruch. Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or u'varei choshech, osei shalom u'varei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim, aleha barachamim, tuvo mekadesh, yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma'rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mala ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shavach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al ma'orei or she'asita, yifa'arucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'morot.
Together. In some special way,
every person completes the universe. If I do not play my part, I injure the pattern of all existence. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day, runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass, and breaks in tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death, in ebb and flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment. We're on page 9.
Ava Rabba Ahatanu Ava Rabba Ahatanu Ava Rabba Ahatanu
To me, the Shema is the general feeling of calm. It is the prayer that we say to silence everything in our bodies and bring a peaceful feeling to our hearts. Please join me in chanting the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Together. You shall love
Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these words which I command you this day. Teach them diligently to your children. Speak of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you arise. Bind them as a sign on your hand. Let them serve as symbols between your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Remember to do all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am your God who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your God.
I know that we are a people who have crossed many seas. In every service, we remember that the price of freedom is often great, as we sing the same words that our ancestors sang after crossing from slavery to freedom at the shores of another sea.
2 songs of freedom and liberation for us to sing and then to put into practice, pages 13 and 14.
Kodesh, Dorat Ilot, O Shafer, Dorat Ilot, O Shafer, Shira Chadasha, Shibakulim, Shiba Asafatayam. Goalino Adonai Svaot Shemon Kadosh Yisrael Baruch Ata Adonai Gan Yisrael Siya Habakkuk and Yen Cuencos 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 Siya Habakkuk and Yen Cuencos. We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching. We are marching. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching. We are marching. We are marching in the light of God. Mi chamo b'bayit Adonai. Mi chamo b'neder hakodesh. Mi chamo b'bayit Adonai. Mi chamo b'neder hakodesh.
Please rise. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek.
We are the ones we've been waiting for. So in this sanctuary, we hope to be transformed so that we, too, are sanctuary for ourselves and for all.
Adonai, Tifatatim Ta, Ufi Yagim, Tehilatecha, Adonai, Tifatatim Ta. Adonai, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a sanctuary for you. La 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 la, la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la. Sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Adonai, Tifatatim Ufi Yagim, Tehilatecha, Adonai, Tifatatim Ufi Yagim, Tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, El Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshir U'Magin. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezras Sarah.
Together. Praise be the God of our ancestors, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, of Sarah, of Rebekah, of Leah, and of Rachel.
Praise be the source of strength and courage, the source of kindness and good deeds. Praise be the source of gentleness and love, of softness and kind words. Praise be the person who transcends strength through gentleness. Praise be the person who perfects gentleness through strength. Praise be the person who acts according to the best that is within. Praise be the person who reaches out to touch the best in others. Praise be the gentle faithfulness of Abraham and the valiant strength of Sarah. Praise be the God who infused humanity with divine potential.
Atagi bor le'olam Adonai, mechaye ha'kol atzarav le'oshia, mechaker ha'im b'chesed, mechaye ha'kol
berachamim rabim,
somef noflim ve'ofech olim, umasir asurim,
umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot, umido melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'hachayot hakol, baruch ata Adonai, mechayeh hakol.
Be who you are, nothing more, nothing less, and let the beauty that you love be the very best.
I have to say amen to that. Michael Franti, if you don't know him, right, look him up. I know someone that your family and you are very fond of and connected to, as am I. So definitely a person, a musician who's filled with holiness, and that's what he wants to do, is exude it, sort of modeling for all of us to be our very best selves as we fill the spaces between us with Kedusha, with holiness, pages 18 and 19.
Kadesh Shemcha ba'olam, Kishem Shemat Yeshima, Tormish Memaram, Kakatu Ayan Eliecha, Bekara Ze'el Ze'emar. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebaot, Melech haaretz, kevodo, Adir Adirenu Adonai, Adonai Adir, Shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mimkomo. Echad Eloheinu, Hu Avinu Malkeinu, Moshiach ve'lo yashbinu, v'rachamav ve'enei kol ha'am. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yirok Adonai le'olam, Elohai Zion, Dor vador. Hallelujah. Dor vador nagid godlecha, U'lenetzach netzakim kedushacha nadish, V'shichacha Eloheinu yimkin lo yavush le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh.
Please be seated.
So the next prayer is right from the Torah, the same Torah that in just a few moments Isaac will chant from. This passage is from the book of Exodus, and it's all about this moment, these moments that we're sharing together. It's all about Shabbat, which in our tradition we describe as a taste of the world as it should be. Right? That's what we get here with each other, surrounded by music and goodness, right? And renewal. We get a taste of the world as it should be. And so when this service is over, when Shabbat is over, we can go back into our lives, our work, our school. I know we have, we're at the Maplewood Richmond Height Heights is represented, right? And back to school, back to work, back to all the things that we do during the week, ready to help transform those places, to make them better, because we were able to have this taste of how things could be. And so we sing this song, this prayer, about keeping Shabbat, about keeping moments that fill us with holiness, with a sense of revitalization, renewal, and a chance, once again, to be our very best selves. So we sing together these words from the book of Exodus.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
Page 20, the prayer is called Avodah. It simultaneously means worship and service, like the kind of service we're supposed to do for one another, and also work. And those three concepts get woven together in this one Hebrew word, Avodah.
together.
You are with us in our prayer, in our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and to do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble and pain clouds our mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right.
After the service, we'll sing that one.
Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world.
What a great concept, peace overwhelming the world. Shalom everywhere, all the places that are filled with violence and war. So we direct our hearts, as we kind of always do, but now really directly to peace, to pray for peace wherever it's needed. We think about the Ukrainians and everyone, all of us, for more peace, more shalom, so that the world is a more loving and generous and peaceful place.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, Tova u'beraka, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, Tova u'beraka.
So we ask at this point that of the service that we take some time, even within our time of stopping. Shabbat is a stopping time, to even stop further and just have some time for our own silent prayer, meditation, reflection. You can go back through the Siddur to the prayers, but also the wonderful kavanot, the additional sacred words that Isaac and his family brought to the Siddur. And also, I want to point out on page 22, the page that we're on, Isaac has provided a further meditation, something for your own inspiration, an excerpt from The Little Prince, a work that many of us know, but also was one of your Papa Jack's very favorites. I love that you told me that he would always say that there's lots of lessons in there. And we can hear Jack of blessed memory, saying that and feeling it, and also adding his own lessons, right, to the already wonderful lessons of The Little Prince. So, we'll go off on our own, even as we stay here together, and then we'll sing one more prayer for peace again, and then time for the Torah service with Isaac as our leader and our teacher. So moments of silence.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ve'al kol Yisrael v'himru v'himru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Amen. Thanks, Andrew and Leslie, for continuing to fill our sanctuary with song and music. And our drummer is Cousin Bruce. All the way from
Madison,
my alma mater. Yeah. Well, thank you. The drum grounds us, you know, and so it's all important. So glad you came here, not only for Isaac's Bar Mitzvah, but to be one of our drummers. So now, Isaac, you're going to tell everybody to
Please rise.
right, and we're going to ask. Do you remember opening the ark for Levi's Bar Mitzvah? Yes, he does. Micah, your turn, buddy. Come on up. Come on up. We all want to ask also all of Isaac's grandparents that are here, even with the two grandmas watching from home, you've got a lot of grandparents, so have them all come up, and your parents, of course, and Levi, of course. And go ahead, Micah, open the ark, and Rabbi Susan. There she is. You can see right here.
Hi, Micah. Micah's into the music. I can see that, right? It's very much into the music.
Let's see. Grandparents.
Oh my, Isaac. You are a rich man. Look at all these grandparents. Look at this chain of tradition that you are a part of. This is something that your family has been teaching us for a long time. How family expands and is what we make it. And as I look at that talit, I think about your great-grandma, Doris, and walking into their home and not only seeing the beautiful loom and intentional weaving that was just so spectacular and so precise and beautiful, the colors, but it was also, you probably know this, filled with sheep. Oh my God, there were sheep everywhere. Big sheep, little sheep, glass sheep, ceramic sheep, sheep, I don't know. There were sheep everywhere. And what I've been thinking about during the service, seeing you wrapped in this talit, as your brother was before you and your little brother will be after you, is thinking about the message from your great-grandma that we have to remember where things come from. We have to remember the generosity of creation that gives us what we need to make things beautiful, to make things meaningful. Because we can't, as you already know, in losing, your Grandpa Jack, who Oh my God, I feel him in this line. He is here. He's in every space, really. The pause between everyone, between our words, between our thoughts, between our teachings. He is here. So is your Aunt Aaliyah, who I really loved very much. She struggled a lot in her life, but she loved her nephews. Oh my God, that was her joy. I remember at your baby naming, at all the baby namings, she was right there, front and center with her blessing. And your Grandpa David also brought something so special to this line, this tradition. So your family has more branches than we can count. But I think what your great-grandma Doris taught us with all those sheep is the roots, the gifts of creation. The gifts all come from the belly of the earth, all from one place. And your family has taught us that for a long time. You know, really. And I love this portion because not only does it teach us about the strange fire that we have to protect our children from, but it also takes us to that sacred place of the Holy of Holies that I understand you're going to teach us about, purity. No matter what schmutz comes in the world, and there's a lot of it, oh my God, I thought we would be handing you a better world, Isaac. I really did. At your baby naming, when we called you Isaac for laughter, and we promised by the time you got here, we would be laughing. Well, you know, we plan, God laughs. But we're not done yet because we have the tools. We have the tools, and I know you have the tools to respond with holiness to whatever schmutz, whatever disappointments, right? Life gives us. You have the tools to respond, perhaps with the most important thing. Certainly the purity, certainly the holiness, certainly the intention, remembering where we come from, remembering our roots, remembering the gifts that we build our lives on, remembering the pause that Jack taught us to take, to be careful how we respond. But I think the most important thing right now is kindness. It's the only thing we can control. We can't control a whole lot of other things, but you have the tools, and you have that tool. I can see it, of kindness. Being the middle brother, I'm sure it's come in handy. But you have such a wonderful family, and we, look at this beautiful family, we are blessed to call you part of our community, our family. We're excited to see where this next chapter of your life will take you. I remember your brother standing here, and oh my God, look at him now. Right? There's transformation about to happen, and we'll be there watching, guiding, helping, but also learning from you all the way. So we take this Torah, as you know, a special Torah, a Torah that we can't read from because it is not pure. Because this Torah was made pasul, it was made impure by the Nazis during the Holocaust, when they took it from Holosov, this small Czechoslovakian village, and they, disgraced it by killing the people that honored it. But it saw more joy than horror. And so it survived somehow. It survived. For us to tell her story, but also to remember the weddings, the bar mitzvahs, the babies, that in its over 100 years of existence before the Holocaust, it got to witness. So even though the Jews that held her at that time did not survive, they survived through us, through you. So we take this Torah that somehow managed to survive the journey from Holosov being thrown on a truck to the basement in Prague, where many of them really molded so badly they couldn't be saved. But this Torah, along with about 1,000 others, was able to be preserved enough for it to go to London and be put out for adoption. And we are able to take this Torah and put it into the chain of tradition good friend Ellen, to Harry. Through this chain of tradition, all of these good people who are there to be roots for you. And Grandma Vicky, and I feel Jack right there next to your mama. To your wonderful father, generosity of spirit. To your big brother who will put it into your arms so that you can become a bar mitzvah and stand before us. And as a sign that you are ready, Isaac, to lead with kindness and with laughter, with joy, and with generosity, with intention, remembering the sheep. Lead us in the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shema.
Beautiful. And if you would, you can put your books down. If you didn't dance the first time, you can walk along or dance along with Isaac as he leads us in the Hakafot, the dance of the promise of peace that we believe are in the teachings of Torah. Please join us.
And Aunt Penny and Aunt Penny and Cousin Madeline, there they are.
Go with him. Everybody. I just couldn't put into words. Thank you. I can't even tell you. I love you so much. It's not always easy.
Where did they go?
Come back. Yeah, I don't know. I'll come back.
Thank you. You want to stay up here while he stands? Good. Yep. All right. So hold on 1 second. Please be seated. Take your roll. Come here, guys. Yep. Okay.
All right. Glad everyone had a chance to connect to Isaac and the Torah and have some communal time. Want to recognize that it was your Aunt Penny and Cousin Madeline who was up here helping to get the Torah prepared to be read by you. Also want to recognize your teacher, your tutor, Julie Aronson. Is Julie here? Oh, there you are. Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go. Yasha Koch. Julie Aronson and you have been working together for many months so that you could get to this point of being able to chant from the Torah, do this mitzvah for us and for the Jewish world, for allowing us to hear the words from the Torah portion. Was it all virtual? Did you get to meet in person a little bit?
Like couple.
Just a couple times, yeah. So, as we've been slowly reopening, our Bar and Bat Mitzvah students, our B'nai Mitzvah students, have had the extra challenge, not only of learning to do all this that you've seen Isaac do, but also do it screen to screen. But somehow that chevruta, that relationship between teacher and student that is so special and goes beyond teacher-student, where the student teaches too and the teacher learns and there's also a friendship, somehow transcends even when you can't be in the same space. So wanted to recognize Julie and show everyone the yad that you're using. So yad is the Hebrew word for hand. It's also the word for the tool that we use to be able to read from the Torah to keep our spot without putting our fingers on the scroll and smudging it. And so that yad is a special yad, a gift from Vicky and Papa Jack of blessed memory. It was used by Levi at his Bar Mitzvah, and I know will be continued to be passed to each person who comes up here and chants Torah. So it'll be another helping hand of the many who were part of this journey with you, Isaac. So I'm going to bring to the bima to surround Isaac and the Torah, Rabbi Susan and I, with people from your lives who are going to bring blessing to this moment. So this first aliyah is a big, wonderful group of family, including your Grandma Ellen and your Grandma Vicky, your Uncle Torah and Aunt Mickey and Uncle Matt and Aunt Emuna, Uncle Stephen, Aunt Barbara, Aunt Amy, and Uncle Kenny. I'm going to call you all up using your Hebrew names, your sacred names, Ya'amdu, Leah Zelda, V'Chava Sarah, Bat Mendel, V'Yehuda, V'Torah, V'Mickey, V'Matit Yahu, V'Emuna, V'Yisrael, V'Dina, V'Chama Bat Avraham, V'Sarah, V'Aharon ben Chaim, V'Devorah. That was attendance, everybody here and accounted for. I want to say to Torah and Mickey, this is where you were married. What a wonderful, amazing occasion. So glad that you're back on this bima and this family who I feel like I've been connected to forever and ever. You have the first aliyah. Isaac's given you that honor. And so before Isaac starts to chant, the blessing is on page 24. Whenever you're ready. 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai Hambarah, Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Then you begin.
Va'et chelev chachakat yaktir chamis becha v'hamshaleya et hasa'ir le'azazel yechabes bigadav v'rachatz et besaro ba'mayim v'acharechen yavo el chamachaneh v'et par chachakat v'et Seir chachakat asher huva estaman lechaper bakodesh yotzi el michutz lamachane v'sarfu va'esh et orotam ve'et besaram ve'et pirsham.
Beautiful. And then you guys, the blessing on page 25. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. So I'm going to ask this group to give your mazzels and nachas to Isaac, and you can take your seats. We make room for the second aliyah. There you go. Omaha, Nebraska, right? We have represented. I knew that. And where else? And California, all right, San Francisco, good places. You know, I knew your cousins, Matt and Tora, when they were even younger than you, in another lifetime, another journey ago. So as group one takes their seats, I'm now going to kind of call up the inner circle, your family, who really, you all live with such intentionality and purpose. It's really wonderful to be able to observe. And so this is your mom and dad, Tali and Jeff, and your brother Levi, who is bar mitzvah before you. Ya Amdu, Tali v'Jeff, Levi ben Jeff v'Talia, Aliyah l'Torah Sheni, page 24.
והשורף אותם יכבס בגדיו ורחץ את בשרו פעמיים ואחרי כן יבוא אל המחנה והייתה לכם לחוקת עולם בחודש השביעי בעשור לחודש תענו את נפשותיכם וכל מלאכה לא תעשו העזרא והגר הגר בתוכם כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תטהרו. שבת, שבתון היא לכם ועיניתם את נפשותיכם חוקת עולם.
Shikach. And the blessing after on 25. Baruch atah Adonai. V'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Levi, we'll ask that you guys stay up here. Yep. And Levi, you could give your brother a brotherly sort of something. That was good. That was perfect. That's what I was thinking. And then you can have a seat. You can take your seat. That works. Felt that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I did ask your parents to stay. Their aliyah is done, but I want them to be up close and personal, Isaac, for your aliyah. This is when you're called to the Torah, though you've been chanting Torah all along. Sort of a singular moment for the first time to be called to the Torah. That's really what Bar Mitzvah at its heart is all about, to have this aliyah so that you can continue on bringing all that's meaningful about this tradition into your life as you go forward as a teenager and a young adult and an adult. It's been truly an overwhelming joy and honor to work with you, Isaac. Already knew each other, but through this process, always coming from a bike ride, and then got ready to really do the hard work of kind of what is this all about to you, which we'll all hear soon. So on this Shabbat of your Bar Mitzvah, this 14th day of our time of counting the Omer, just a day or so away from a new moon, right? You read about the full moon in your service, and we're about to have that new moon filled with new possibilities. And you, Isaac, are part of really making me sure that there is something hopeful to come. So I'm going to call you to the Torah with your Hebrew name that Rabbi Susan alluded to. The Hebrew for Isaac is Yitzchak, and it does mean laughter. And so even as you've been doing all this hard work, I've seen you smiling and even some laughing as well. So you live up to that name, spreading cheer and goodness to your friends and family and to all of us. So, to call you to the Torah as a bar mitzvah, Ya'amod Yitzchak ben Jeff Vitalia Aliyah LeTorah Bar HaMitzvah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. V'chiper HaKohen Asher Yimsha Oto Va'asher Yemale Et Yado L'chachen Tachat Aviv V'lavash Et Bigdei Habad Bigdei HaKodesh V'chiper Et Mikdash HaKodesh V'et Ohel Moed V'et HaMizbeach Yechaper Ve'al HaKohanim Ve'al Kol Am HaKahal Yechaper V'hayet Azot Lachem Lechukat Olam Lechaper Al B'nai Yisrael Michol Hatatam Achat Bashana Vayas Ka'asher Siva Adonai Et Moshe.
Asher Kolach. And the blessing after Isaac.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Get around and get some love from your folks. There you go. Perfect.
So, Isaac, really thank you for that chanting. That somehow you were able to weave precision, because it was really precise, but also with it just was really beautiful chanting as well. That's a great combination, because it's a mitzvah to hear. There's always more than one simcha in a day. So birthdays, bar mitzvahs, but we appreciate that, because it's one thing. You were supposed to hear the Torah on Shabbat, but then it's an added bonus if the chanting kind of elevates us, and so we all felt that from you, Isaac. So thank you for that. We're gonna take the opportunity of all that holiness and that inspiration just from hearing the words from the Torah, even if we couldn't really follow what it said, in terms of it being in Hebrew, something about the words and the melody. We take up the opportunity with all the heart being open, the heart of the world being open by these moments, to offer healing prayers for the people in our lives who could use a healing touch. So we send healing prayers to all people we know and people we'll never meet, but people who are suffering and who are ill. And so I would ask you to bring to mind those people in your lives, or maybe some of us here could use the healing prayers. We have a whole group of people that we think about when we turn to healing prayers. I want to think about your grandmas, both who are under the weather, who are your two grandmas who are watching. We're sending healing prayers to you both. We have Susan Fadum and Jill Hollifield, Mary Holtz and Mimi Roden's Aunt Iris, Louis Lumstein and Gloria Lash, Bear Robinson. As I said, the list is long, because that's sort of, there's always people who are in need. And so think about your own people at this time, and all the people and places in the world who could use the benefit of our healing prayers, and also our dedication to, when we can, and in all the ways we can, be healers ourselves. And so that prayer is on page 26. Misha Barak, the one who blessed our ancestors, should bless us, our loved ones, and all who need healing with a refuah shlema.
Misha Barak. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imoteinu por bless those in need of healing with refuah shleimah, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We read together on the bottom of page 26, the Chatimah, the part of this prayer that seals it, we hope and pray, for all those in need of healing. We say, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofe HaCholim, blessed is the Holy One, who teaches us ways to bring healing to those who are ill. And let us say, Amen. And so now every Torah portion is paired up with a Haftorah, a passage from a later book of the Bible, the books of the prophets, and Acharei Mot, this week's portion, has been paired with words from the prophet Ezekiel, who had his moments of sort of being a wild prophet, kind of said painted some really interesting pictures, let's just put it that way. If you ever want to read the book of Ezekiel, it's got some pretty intense moments. Luckily, Isaac gets to chant from the book of Ezekiel as part of this Torah service. And after the blessings and the Haftorah, Isaac is going to offer his commentary. It's called the Devar Torah, words that sort of spring from Isaac's understanding of his Torah portion, or at least a moment of his Torah portion that really spoke to him. And then it kind of goes in whatever direction Isaac wants it to go in, to become a piece of wisdom for all of us to take home with us. And so we start on page 27 with the blessing and then the Haftorah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar binvaim tovim, v'ratzav divrehem, hana'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah, u'Moshe avdo, u'Yisrael amo, u'vinviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Vayehi Divor Adonai Eli Lemor Ve'ata Aven Adam Hatishpot Et Ir Hadamim Ve'hodata Et Kolto Avotecha Ve'amarta Ko Amar Adonai Elohim Ir Shofechet Dam Betocha Lavo Ita Ve'azta Gilulim Alecha Litom'a Bedamech Asher Shefach Ashamt Uvgilulayich Asher Asit Tamet Vatakri V'yamayich V'tavo Ad Shenotayich Alkein Netatayich Cherpa Lagoyim V'tkalasa Lechol Ha'aratzot Hakrovot V'harkot Mimech Yitkal Suva Tmeat Hasham Rabat Hamhuma Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sor kol haolamim Sadiq b'chol hadorot Ha'el ha'ne'eman Ha'omer ve'osei Hamdaber umchayeh Shekol devarav emet v'tzedek Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah Hanve'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha v'limnucha Lechavod ol tifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lach Umvarchim otach Yitzbarach shimcha b'fi kol ha'tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mechadesh ha'shabbat. Oh, yes. Oops. Okay. The book of Leviticus is mostly about the rules and regulations that are necessary to live a religious life. My portion is all about Aaron, the brother of Moses, who is also the high priest. In order to hold this position, he must follow very specific commandments. My portion goes into the details of how he should live a holy life and keep the job of the priest, whether it be the clothing he must wear, bathing rituals, the number of prayers he recites, and the choices he makes in life to live without sin. My portion also goes into the famous story of the scapegoat. In this story, the people of the village would put all their sins onto a goat and send it out into the woods as a way to cleanse or rid themselves of their guilt. One of the things that stood out to me was the importance of purity. For example, in order for Aaron to speak with God, he must bathe in holy water to cleanse or rid himself of his sins. And he had to go to very extreme measures, such as sacrifices and blood offerings, to prove himself and his community to be pure of their sins. At first, I saw this idea of purity as negative, as some of the tasks Aaron had to do were extreme, violent, and judgmental. After thinking about it, I realized that in the context of that time, it was a way to show that you cared for your community and others, and were devoted to being a good and holy person. When something is pure, it's in its original state, natural or fresh. It hasn't been changed to fit standards or altered by society. For example, an undiscovered waterfall, overrun by nature with crystal clear water, not yet destroyed by pollution and waste, in its purest form. In my opinion, for a person to be pure, it means they're the best version of themselves. This doesn't mean they have to be perfect, no one is, but they put in their best effort to be trustworthy, helpful, and kind. For a person to be pure, they also need to take care of themselves, but not be selfish, and make better life decisions. Let me elaborate on the 3 most important efforts you can put in to be the best, most pure version of yourself, in my opinion. First, be trustworthy. To be trustworthy, you can just generally be honest about who you are and what you believe. It can also mean not getting influenced into making a decision you don't feel comfortable with, and being honest to people about how you feel. So it's smart to surround yourself with people you trust and people who understand you and wouldn't put you in an uncomfortable position. Second, be kind. To be kind means to treat everyone with the same level of respect and without judgment. Kindness can be the smallest things, like a smile, even just letting a person know that they are seen and heard. While we talk about kindness often, it's actually carrying it out that matters. My grandpa was probably one of the kindest person I've ever met. He would always take time to do the smallest things that he knew could make a person's day, like striking up a friendly conversation with a stranger that would leave them feeling noticed. Third, be helpful. To be helpful means you do things for others and not for your personal benefit. One way I try to do this is by doing good for my community. For example, when the 7th and 8th grade mitzvah group went to Harvey Kornblum Food Pantry in Trinity Church to help feed people in need. Doing these acts made me feel really happy and proud. I find that helping others is not only a way to help your community, but help yourself. To be pure, it's also important to keep yourself happy and clear of negativity towards yourself and others. While Aaron wore certain clothes and bathed in certain ways to cleanse himself, I find that a great way to emotionally cleanse or rejuvenate myself is to take a bike ride, spend time with friends, play piano, listen to music, and make art. It's always good to put yourself first and think about what brings you joy. And when you are taking care of yourself, you have the strength and energy to take care of others. In my own life, I feel like being peer is not always easy, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices or step up when you don't want to, and push yourself to be better. Being a teen makes being peer a struggle, especially in 2022. With all the problems in our world, wars, the pandemic, climate change, poverty, etc., and not to mention the regular drama and stress that comes with being in middle school, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by it all. But a way to rise above the stress and frustration is to talk to someone and ask when you need help. While the story of Aaron is ancient, it has given me a lot to think about today. Things have changed since the story was written, but a lot of similar challenges remain. Back then, people strived to be pure and holy, and today, in different ways, we still aim for those goals. While the world looks different, and we may not send our sins off on a goat, we can find practices to rid ourselves of personal difficulties and challenges, and always strive to be the best, most pure version of ourselves.
Amen.
You took all that adoration as a pure self. You really did. I really humble and everything that you said. Isaac, the wisdom, true wisdom that comes with that teaching, I think all of us can feel. And remember, not just us here, but all the people who are going to watch this service. We're all very fortunate and we're all very blessed, because I think that that we're going to kind of take from your teaching, ways that we can be more like our pure selves. You seized on that word from the very first time we met. I mean, not that we met each other, but met for to work towards your Bar Mitzvah. That was the word, and it took a while for you to figure it out. Like you said in your Devar Torah, there were parts of the way Torah describes purity that didn't resonate with you at all. But it was that sort of notion about being your authentic self, right? And that image of that waterfall, which every time you say it, I'm like there just for a second. I have to bring myself back to St. Louis from that waterfall you bring me to. But to be our authentic selves, and really as you hit on it as your kind of overriding definition, it was so obvious to me, and I don't think you maybe even now, you haven't totally squared it, but that's you, right? You walk in the world as an authentic you. You are authentic to you, right? Whether you're having fun and adventures with your family and friends, or whether you're doing something really sort of challenging and studious, like learning to chant for the Torah. You just come at it, and leading the service, you come at it as pure, right? The way you define it. And it's true also, I have to say, in different ways, because part of purity is, if that's what purity is, we're not all the same, right? Because our authentic selves are all different, but your family, all of them. And I know so many people in your families also exemplify that. They are just authentic to who they are, and that helps them shine into the world like you shine into the world and make a difference. Really, it's just very, it makes so much sense to me. It kind of all came together for me the same time it came together for you. So there's this sort of Hasidic story, not even a story, it's sort of a saying that each person, when we meet somebody new or whenever we see somebody, so Isaac, look out, this is the community that's come together for this Shabbat to be part of your Bar Mitzvah moment and teaching. The passage says, what if every person we see, we say actually out loud, here is a person created in the image of everything that's good and high and holy and pure in the universe, right? What if we actually reminded ourselves, not only can it be true about us, but it can be true about everybody. We all have that potential. It's not easy, right?
but we all have that potential to be our pure selves. And I think, Isaac, that's what you gave us. You gave us a reminder, right? Because sometimes we lose it along the way, right? For different reasons. Maybe even once in a while you lose it. But to be reminded, how do we really get back to that place of our best selves, our purest selves, our authentic selves? And if that isn't a message to inspire us on Shabbat, I don't know what is. So thank you. And I want to give you a blessing. And I want to let this blessing, I know you wouldn't want to keep it just to yourself. You'd want to share it with everybody here. So this is the Shehechianu blessing. So I want to take this talit, your great-grandma Doris wove on that loom. I got to see those looms as well. And just let you sort of have a moment to feel it surrounding you and to feel the holiness surrounding you. And I'll offer this blessing for this moment that I know has been a special and transformative moment for you, but because of you, it's also been a special and transformative moment for all of us who are privileged to be witnesses to what you've taught us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'hegianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Blessed is the Holy One whose presence fills creation, who gave us our lives and who kept us alive and enabled us to reach this moment when you, Yitzchak, Isaac, Shafer, became Bar Mitzvah and made us all very proud. And let us say, Amen. Amen. And Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. There we go. So we want to make sure that you know and your family knows how much we at CRC appreciate you and your entire family being part of our community and having your bar mitzvah here. And so we have a wonderful member of our board of directors whose son Meyer is going to have his bar mitzvah in just a matter of months, right? So everyone can come back for that. This is Iris Hinderleiter to present you with gifts and blessings from CRC.
CRC is so proud to present you with a certificate that says you have become a bar mitzvah. And the 2 trees we planted in your honor. 1 tree will be planted in a Jewish neighborhood, a predominantly Jewish neighborhood, in a largely Arab neighborhood. It's our hope that the 2 trees will come together in a land filled with justice and peace, and that you'll one day get to visit and see those fruits that you've planted. We also give you a tzedakah jar. When I was in here, I think listening to you and trying to get to know you in this space, I saw that you're surrounded by Team Isaac. And Team Isaac is also in the stars, I learned today. And Team Isaac is all around you in the love, laughter, and kindness that is in this room that you led, that you developed, and that we know that you're going to go forward and do with tzedakah, with repairing the world, with all the love, laughter, and kindness that you have displayed here today, because Team Isaac is counting on it. Congratulations.
Amen. Thank you, Iris. I'll take that. Make sure we take that. Thank you, Iris. And so we're going to move towards putting the Torah back in the ark. Its words still kind of stirring around in our souls. We're going to ask, once again, Micah, come back up so you can open the doors of the ark. And to dress the Torah, we have Uncle Tobias and Aunt Theona. And say again? Oh my gosh, right. Lena, wait, hold on one second, Micah. Lena and Leah, come and help your cousin Micah open the ark. We'll just kind of let this happen. You guys, you ready? You got one door, let your sister get another. No, well, yeah, that's true.
So, Isaac, come here. Now you can tell everyone that is sitting that they should please.
Please be seated.
Well,
Oh, wait.
We tricked him.
Oops. Please rise. There we go.
we're on page. It's a multiple choice kind of a thing. So, we're on page 29. Where we put the Torah away to the words of the proverb that tells us that Torah is, and not just Torah over here, but the Torah is a tree of life. And you've proven that, Isaac, to us once again, that even ancient words and ancient rituals even and ancient concepts can be relevant to us right now. And so it is true. Torah remains a tree of life when we struggle with it and come up with interpretations that bring meaning to the world. And so we'll sing Eitz Chaim, we'll put the Torah away, and then we'll move forward towards the conclusion of the service.
Eitz Chaim, no makas kimba, the Torah keha.
Hi, guys. You want to have a seat? Have a seat? All right, so you'll take that. Isaac, probably did a great job.
Remain standing. Isaac and I are going to face the ark as all of you are facing east towards the ark. And we're on page 30 with the words to Aleinu Lishabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gedola liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yosed Aretz Umoshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Mima'al Ushchinat Uzo B'Gav Hei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato Hakatuv B'Torato V'yadata Hayom V'hashevota El Levavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim B'Shamayim Mima'al Ve'al Haaretz Mitachat Ein Od V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
Please be seated.
Please be seated just for a moment. Just a few announcements. Let people know what is happening here at CRC. You might have noticed when you came in a couple of things. One is our Faces Not Forgotten exhibit, portraits of young people whose lives were cut short because of gun violence, to allow us to remember them, learn about them, but also to pledge ourselves to do everything we can to make the streets of our cities safer, and our schools
everywhere safer and free of that kind of violence. Also, members of the congregation who are part of our voting rights Havara are out there if you'd like to speak with them. They're talking about the initiative process and Missouri's democracy. So while everyone's eating lunch or going towards lunch, spend a little time if you can, if you want to, with our voting rights Havara. There were members of not as much Isaac's class, but the class before, who had their bar and bat mitzvahs, their b'nai mitzvot, totally at home, right? When we were closed for a year and a half, and we had probably 15 or 20 bar and bat mitzvah families who decided to go forward with their ceremonies with the family at their home, the rabbis at our homes, and everybody watching at theirs, and they all did an amazing job, but they weren't able to be here at our Sukkot Shalom. So we're inviting all of those families next Saturday, since we're now open and we want them to have an aliyah and a blessing and recognize the families and all the people from CRC who made those online bar and bat mitzvahs holy. And you're all welcome to come to celebrate those young people who really the only thing they weren't able to do was like see the faces of the congregation in front of them. And so we want to allow them to do that next Saturday. Otherwise, there's all kinds of classes and opportunities to serve through Tikkun Olam. You can check the bulletin board and our emails and newsletters, and hopefully you can find a way to participate. But as Isaac knows, and many of us know, we don't leave each other in this space until we kind of remember those who've come before us, those people who have passed away who we're remembering as a blessing. And so Isaac is going to start those remembrances on page 31, not only with words, but with some wonderful pictures of the people that he and his family are remembering.
I would like to have a special remembrance for my Aunt Pa Jack, who has played a major role in my life. He was the kindest person I've ever known, and I miss him every day. I would also like to have a special remembrance for my Aunt Aaliyah. She was a very loving person, and she took great pride in being my aunt. She always made me feel special, and she gifted me her handmade jewelry. And for my grandpa, David Lesht, who died when I was just 3. Grandpa Dave was an amazing person who used music to bring light and happiness into people's lives. I would also like to remember my great-grandparents, Leo and Beatrice Kreindel, Alan and Doris Oglander, Seymour and Lillian Lesht, Martha Holster, and Ruth Shafer.
Add to that list to your grandma Vicky and her sister Stephanie's parents, Ed. This is the year of mourning, and Marlene. It's Marlene's yard site at this time as well. So we remember them all for blessings. And now we want to ask anyone that's here, if you'd like to stand and say the name of somebody you're remembering in this Kaddish moment, to join with those names that Isaac so beautifully talked about. If you're here to say Kaddish, whether it's you're in your year of mourning or this is the yard site, the anniversary of the loss of a loved one, please stand so we can recognize you and hear the names. I'm going to start with Karen. Of blessed memory, Karen, for your 4 years. And I remember the year that you stood and said Kaddish for him each and every week as well. Give our love to your family as you remember. And think about your sister, whose yard site was just last Shabbat as well. So we remember them. Thank you. Yeah, Carol. Yeah, for your dad, who's on our list, and we'll say his name every day. Your dad and your father-in-law, and let's see, great-grandfather. Wow. And you got a chance to get to know him, which is such a blessing. So we've been thinking about your family, Carol, as you sort of begin this path of mourning and remembrance. May his memory be a blessing. Yeah.
My friend Renee Deal, or Josh Porter, for Chad.
Thank you. Thanks, Leslie. Yes? Yeah, for your parents, Vicki. They are here too. We feel their presence. Did you want to? And Stephanie, for your parents as well. Yeah. So I don't want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yes, please. Oh my gosh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for standing. Thank you. Thank you for saying your name. Now, everyone that's able, please stand together. We do have, we want to honor all of those names, and there's also some names we're going to add to that list. People we're remembering as a congregation. Leslie mentioned Josh Porter, a wonderful young man, died too soon. Fran Porter's son, and may his memory be a blessing. We're also remembering Nina Balsam, a member of CRC, Marcy's mom, who blew shofar for 20 years at Alternative Services here in this very spot. Remembering George Newman, Susan's husband, and Robert Wolfsey, Carol's father, as well as Francis Ilovicki and Martin Ilovicki. Howie Ilovicki's parents, both his mom and dad, died within a week of one another. He's out of town, but I know he's streaming in. We're remembering Martin and Francis. Renee Deal, as was mentioned, and Faye Zimmerman. Remembering Shirley Patisha, another wonderful member of CRC, and Art Lash, Gloria's husband. Selena Green, the daughter of Maria DeShields, and Dr. Stan Frager, Maris Berg's brother. It's Maris's 80th birthday these last couple of days. For Michael Huxley, Lisa's brother, and Ruth Gustorf, Jeff's mom. Nina Levine, the young daughter of Bobby Levine, we remember her. For Kyle Currier and Sam Nussbaum. For Linda Holtzman and Karen Margot. Judge Roberta Hitt and Andy Neiman, and Ed Lander, right there at his yahrzeit time, is coming up in June. For Raphael Berger, who was the father of Mike Berger, and it's also the yahrzeit of Alex Hochberg, another too young person, Stephen Gale's son. Marjorie Rosenblum Case, Samuel Seltzer, who was Rhea Elbaum's father. Michael Paul Simpson, Eleanor and Joseph's son, and Nathan Weissman, Susan and Howard Weissman's son, died as a little child, and I know was surrounded by this community many, many years ago, but we still remember Nathan. We'll always remember Nathan. Renee Chick, Erica Chick's mother, Louis Linder, and David Matthews, who was Lori Becker's brother. And actually, Lori, you know Lori's daughter Maya is having her bat mitzvah as an 8th grader, a year after her original date in a couple of weeks. Also, Nesson Blumberg and Stephen Jacobs, Natalie Kurtzman, I.E. Millstone, and Gilbert Rosenthal. Ken Shakis is outside with the Voting Rights Havara, and his father, Alex, is having his yahrzeit is Monday. Aaliyah is here, your aunt, Isaac. Lou Osheroff, Andrew's father-in-law. This is his yahrzeit time. So we remember them all with love in our hearts, and we honor them in the Jewish tradition with the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, which we can read together on page 32. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chai echon v'yom echon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagalal v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabba mivarach le'olam ulmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei Shlam Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'Imru Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'Mromav Uyase shalom aleinu le'avol Yisrael ve'imeru amen ve'imeru amen ve'imeru
please be seated just for a moment. We have two more very special blessings for Isaac, words of blessing and pride from his mom and dad, from Jeff and Tali.
All right. Isaac, to say the last 2 years have been hard for our family is an understatement. But through it all, you have maintained a steady, even forward progress. You've learned new songs on the piano, kept your grades high, become a really good mountain biker, been a good friend, and you have done so much to prepare for this day. You've always been a very focused and determined person. I remember when you were 3, hitting wiffle balls in the backyard. You would have me pitch to you until you got 5 hits in a row. Now, that didn't happen overnight, but I believe over the course of a week or so, you finally got 5 in a row. And from that point, you started hitting them farther and harder. Whether it's working through a new piece of music, improving your biking skills, or bringing your artistic vision to life on a canvas. You just keep at things till you get to where you want to be with whatever it is you're doing. That sort of stick-to-itiveness, as your great-grandma Mama once said, will bring you great joy in life. As you know, the journey will be bitter and sweet. My hope for you is that you continue to find the sweet spots in life. So far, you're doing pretty good in that department. To say we're proud of you is an understatement. You've done such a great job, and I love you so much.
My turn. It's hard to top that. Isaac, I remember this moment when you were just a few weeks old, and I lied you down on the bed after a bath and just marveled at you. And there was this wave of a feeling that rushed over me. And it was like, this little person right here is going to be a force. I had this sense right in that moment that you were going to be determined, outgoing, an athletic type who was going to shake things up in our quiet little peaceful lives. And now, when I think back on that moment, I am amazed at how very true that feeling was. And every step of the way, I have continued to marvel at you and all of the special qualities you bring into our lives. You are an artist, a thinker, an athlete, a good team player, a role model, and a person who wears their heart on their sleeve. You are a loving brother and a good friend to all those lucky people who get to call you that. I just feel so lucky I get to be your mom. Leading up to this day, I have been filled with so many mixed emotions. Certainly, the joy of it all, the wonder and amazement as I've watched you learn and prepare, and the overwhelming pride I feel when I get to witness you face a hard challenge, work through it, and ultimately have what your piano teacher Mo calls the Isaac Epiphany. But the other prominent emotion that I cannot deny is the very heavy sadness that I feel because your Aunt Pa Jack isn't here for this day that he was so looking forward to. Some days that grief has been so hard to bear, and I just think, how can we even imagine a joyous occasion like this when he's not here to share in it? You know, he's the reason that we're here today. Cultivating your Jewish identity was really important to him, and even from the very early years that you began here at CRC, he knew that it was going to fill you up with so many good things. Man, was he right. But you know, somewhere along the line, as we got closer to today, I think it was at your first rehearsal, it just occurred to me that really, he's been here all along. He's here because a part of you, a part of him is in all of us that knew and loved him. So many that are here today are in this room. He is infused in our hearts and even in this very sacred space that we're standing in right now. This is the important part. And in you, Isaac. He is in you. He is in the sparkle of your eyes and in your enthusiasm for the things and the people that you love. He's right there, tucked into the purest version of you, in your kindness, your trustworthiness, and your helpful way. As Rabbi Randy said, all of those things you talked about in your speech today are about you. They describe you. And I know in my heart, without a doubt, that your grandpa helped to cultivate so much of that goodness. And he would have sat there today in the front row, hanging on to your every word, glowing with pride, and bursting with love for the unique and special person that is you. And I want to leave you today with these words that he actually wrote. Luckily, Mike and Mary asked Uncle Jack to write a letter to their boys when they turned 13. And I'm so grateful for the gift of those letters, because there's a lot of wisdom for all of us in here, obviously, but this was Cooper's letter when he turned 13, and it just feels really perfect. This is a little excerpt from his letter. In the Jewish tradition, there is the notion of tikkun olam, repairing the brokenness of the world. I think you have a much stronger awareness. I think you already have a much stronger awareness of this than I did at 13. I hope your true heart is inspired to participate in this huge work, important work. You are who you're going to be. Enjoy it deeply. Trust and persist with your good intentions. And of course, be grateful for how lucky you are. You are.
Stay up here, you guys, but let's have Levi and Micah come up and join this crew. Isaac, hold that Kiddush cup. Just hold it, yep. And one more time, Isaac, the multiple choice test continues. Everyone should.
Please rise.
Oh, Micah made you a picture. So we've got blessings. I know everyone is invited to stay for lunch. It's only been a couple of weeks since we've been having meals here after Shabbat services, so we're really grateful, Isaac, for you and your family for helping bring us back together again, because it's really certainly part of what congregational life is all about. So I know everyone will keep each other safe, and also we're going to drink in the joy and sweetness that we experienced here. So hold that cup up, and we'll make the blessing for holiness, for sweetness, for joy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. And you can have a sip for all of us. There'll be some for. There we go. And we say l'chaim, to life. Now, not only did your mom write a beautiful blessing, and your dad too, but your mom also, here, take that cover off, made this challah. Definitely a challah that deserves a ooh. Maybe even an ah.
After you taste it.
So this challah represents the fact that we are going to break bread with one another, and that there's always enough to go around, and there certainly is plenty here to go around. So we'll make our blessing for gratitude, and then we'll do our final blessing and celebrate. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Would you like a bite? I'm working hard up here. There you go. Yeah, maybe your brothers too. Maybe. But let's, in the meantime, put our arms around each other and our arms around Isaac, our newest Bar Mitzvah, of whom we're very proud. We'll cut that up and make sure it gets out for everybody. So, take one more look around this sacred community that came together for this special Shabbat service and occasion.
And let's leave each other with words of love and peace from the Torah, the same Torah that Isaac chanted from so beautifully. We say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you now and always. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May all that light, the light from nature, the stars that were in Isaac's Siddur that represent all the people that are still here, right? The moon that shines on us, the new moon that's coming, and also the light that is in everybody's heart and soul, that light that makes us unique and pure, our pure selves. May all that light help us feel safe and warm and loved. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may we have the greatest gift of all, the gift and blessing of shalom, which not only means peace, but it means wholeness. So it encompasses all of it. Yes, peace, but also justice and righteousness and joy and love and compassion and goodness. May the world, may this moment, may we all be filled with all of it, everything that's good and high and holy in the universe. Shalom to one and to all. And we say amen, and Shabbat Shalom, and Mazel Tov to Isaac, Mazel Tov. Because I think people are kind of weird out there. Have fun. Amy.